There are people in this world right now that are not allowed to get food or buy gas unless they have a VAXX certification. And you don't think that's going to happen right here in America? Thanks for watching High Impact Flicks. If you get something out of these videos, give this video a like, share this with everybody you know. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notification icon so you can be alerted anytime I upload content. And don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflicks.com. People ask me all the time, "Hey Brian, do you really use that keto elevate stuff, and does it really work?" The answer is yes and yes. Never in my entire life have I lost body fat so quickly. Not even in my prime at 25, which is over 25 years ago. I'm approaching 54 this year. If you want to support the channel and do your health a favor, grab some with my link in the description. This right here is from the Hindustan Times. They say, "No groceries or fuel for those who have not bowed down at the altar of Jabbo," says Aurangabad administration. And this is no small city in India. In Aurangabad, about 55% of the eligible population of the district have been inoculated so far, compared to the 74% in the state. This has put the district at the 26th place in terms of VAXXs among 36 districts. Aurangabad District Administration has ordered ration shops, gas agencies, and petroleum pumps to supply groceries and fuel only to people who have taken at least one dose of the you-know-what. A movement to ramp up VAXX in that district. Earlier this month, the district collector had ordered that people who had not taken a single dose of you-know-what will not be allowed entry at historic sites and monuments. So that's how it starts. It's like, okay, guys, sorry, we're really gonna crack down right now. You cannot go to a bar unless you have your passport. You cannot go to a restaurant unless you have your passport. You can't go to a sporting event unless you have your passport. And now what they're saying in Aurangabad, and don't think that it's not going to happen here. Now you can't shop for groceries. You can't get gas. Could you imagine pulling up to a gas pump to fill up your tank and they're like, they reject you because you don't have the thing on your phone to scan? Sorry, as a requirement to get fuel from this pump right here, you need the Convid pass. Closing in. The walls are closing in. Aurangabad District Collector, in the order issued on Tuesday, directed authorities of fair price shops, gas agencies, and petroleum pumps to check the VAXX certifications of customers. According to the order, only those citizens having taken at least one dose of the VAXX for you-know-what will be able to get groceries. You can't feed. We care about you so much. We care about the society so much that we're going to have to, you leave us no choice. We're going to have to starve you out until you bow down to Big Pharma. What else would you call that? You can't go to the grocery store to buy food to feed your families unless you bow down to the Big Pharma industrial complex. If the order is not followed, the administration will take action against the people concerned. In other words, if you're that gas station or you're that grocery store that goes, "Hey, and you know they got cameras everywhere. There's surveillance equipment. It's like, why didn't you check that person? Why didn't you check that person? Why didn't you check that person?" Guess what? You're going to go to jail. You're going to have your store shut down, and we're going to seize your property. That store that you own is now our store. So they will take action against the people concerned under the Disaster Management Act and the Epidemic Disease Act. And you might ask, well, Aurangabad is probably a real small town. It probably doesn't have very many people in it. Look how many people are in that town. Almost 1.2 million people. It's probably, if that was a 2011 census, what's the population in 2021? Look at that, 3.9 million people. You're talking about almost 4 million people. That's about the population of the entire state of Oklahoma. 3.9 million people, whoever's left that hasn't been jabbed cannot shop for groceries. Actually, nobody, according to this law, none of those 3.96 million people can feed their families unless they've at least had the first shot from the big farm guy. And people were saying they are not going to do VAXX passports. They are not going to restrict travel. They're definitely not going to keep you from going to a bar or restaurant. All of a sudden they did it. Step one, turn up the heat a little bit on that frog. Water's getting a little warmer. And then they say, then the hammer falls and it's like, well, you can't get gas either. Can you imagine that happening in the United States? I can now. After everything that's just transpired in the last 24 months, I can definitely see that happening. And we need to safeguard ourselves against it. What is the answer to this right here? First of all, decentralize everything. Decentralize food production, decentralize fuel production, decentralize everything, because the problem with this world is you have a centralized power, and then people expect that when there's a centralized power, there's not going to be any corruption that follows, and corruption always follows centralized power. If power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, I can't think of anything more absolute than a centralized power that controls your currency, controls your food supply, controls fuel output. I can't think of a greater area as for a pea tree to grow corruption than centralized power. So what's the answer? Decentralize food production. Have everybody produce food. Have fuel be produced everywhere. Have energy factories everywhere. Decentralize everything. That way you don't have these isolated people in these power structures and these political power structures, these parasites creating all these laws that get rid of the rest of us. That is the answer. And the power of that little one-syllable, two-letter word, no. No. No, it's not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to happen on my kids' watch. It's just not going to happen. We say no. We don't recognize your power. We don't recognize your authority. We're not going to submit to you. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Are you guys psychopaths? Only a psychopath would want somebody to bow down to them. Only a psychopath would say, hey, you can't have food unless you do this. Unless you jump through the hoop that I say that you jump through, you can't feed your family. You can't pay your bills. You can't fill up your tank so you can go to work. How devastating. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police. I want to know what you have to say about it. I am not saying here, you can do what you want to. It's your life. You do what you want to with it. Put whatever you want to in your own body. Bow down to whatever you want to. Roll up your sleeve for whatever you want to. As long as you don't harm or threaten to harm or damage somebody else's property or steal somebody else's property, do whatever you want to. This video, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't do anything. I'm saying, is it right for anybody to come over there and say, unless you get inoculated, you can't feed your family? Go ahead and starve to death, they're saying.
Thousands of people are now struggling to put food on their table.
A sea of cars jammed into a parking lot in San Antonio. More than 10,000 families waiting their turn at a local food bank. Similar scenes are taking place in cities across the country. In Pittsburgh, the line of motorists stretches more than a mile.
Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to remind you, if you don't have a 6-month supply per person in your household of long-term storable dry food, you need to get some from somewhere. We already know they're going to do an economic reset, a currency reset, and a food reset. And if you don't have enough food for everybody in your family and you're out there with everybody else scrambling around at the last minute trying to get some, it's going to be too late. You can get it from me. It's $100 off instantly right here on this website right here, or just get it from anybody. My link is in the description below and in the pinned comment.